Good morning, students. Today, from your Footprints Without Feet test book, we are doing chapter number 7, The Necklace, written by Guy de Maupassant. In our first part, we read that Matilda, Mrs. Loisel, is a beautiful young lady who was born in a family of class by some error of fate. And she believes that she should have been born to a rich class with all the luxuries and delicacies of the world. But then the fortune did not favor her. She was born to a middle class family of clerks and she got married to a clerk. And Matilda, she liked good food served in marvelous dishes, good frocks and jewels. This is all that she desired and yearned for. So one day her husband comes and gives her a printed card, which was an invitation to a ball party. Now, instead of being happy, she threw the card away. Why? Because she didn't have a proper dress for the ball, and she didn't want to present her poverty stricken image amid the rich class. So Mr. Lawson, he had saved 400 francs to buy a gun for hunting. So he sacrificed that amount of money so that the wife could buy a pretty dress for the party. So now let's continue with the land band and explanation on page number 41. The day of the ball approached, and Ma'am Loisel seemed sad, disturbed, anxious. Nevertheless, her dress was nearly ready. Her husband said to her one evening, "What is the matter with you? You have acted strangely for 2 or 3 days." Now the day of ball, that is the dance party, was coming near, and Ma'am Loisel, that is Matilda, she was sad, she was disturbed, she was worried. Her dress was also ready. She has utilized that 400 francs to get a pretty dress for herself for the ball party. But then husband noticed that for last 2 or 3 days she was acting strangely, so he couldn't get what was the matter, because now the dress was also ready. So he questioned, "What is the matter?" And she responded, "I'm vexed not to have a jewel, nothing to adorn myself with. I shall have such a poverty stricken look. I would prefer not to go to this party." Now she announces to her husband that she is very distressed and sad. Why? Because though the dress is ready, but then there's no jewelry, no jewel that she can decorate herself with, and that would give her a poverty look, a poverty stricken look, and amongst the rich class. So she thought that it would be better that she does not go, and she chose not to go for this party. He replied, "You can wear some natural flowers in this season, they look very chic." So the husband replies that why worry about the jewels? There's beautiful flowers all around, natural flowers are there, and that is in fashion also. It will look elegant. You wear those flowers. She was not convinced. "No," she replied, "there is nothing more humiliating than to have a shabby ear in the midst of rich women." So she was not convinced with this idea of having flowers in place of natural flowers in place of a jewel. She felt that it would be very humiliating for her, and it would give a shabby image of her in the middle of rich ladies. Then her husband cried out, "How stupid we are! Go and find your friend, Ma'am Foster, and ask her to lend you her jewels." So the husband says, and he comes up with an idea that why don't you go and talk to your friend, Ma'am Foster? Now, this is the same Foster we were talking earlier, that is her schoolmate, whom she did not go to just because she felt very bad seeing that she's all living a life of luxury and everything. So that is the same friend. So the husband announces that why don't you go to her and ask if she could lend her jewels for the party. She uttered a cry of joy. "It is true," she said. "I had not thought of that." Now, this idea was very welcoming. She was very happy that yes, if I can ask my friend to lend me a jewel for the occasion. The next day, she took herself to her friend's house and related her story of distress. Ma'am Foster went to her closet, took out a large jewel case, brought it, opened it, and said, "Choose, my dear." Now, Ma'am Foster, when she heard the story that she had to go for a party, she does not have something that could be equivalent to the dress she is going to wear for the evening. So, Ma'am Foster opened her almirah and presented to her jewel case, and she asked her choose herself that would be the perfect fit according to her dress for the evening. She saw at first some bracelets, then a collar of pearls, then a Venetian cross of gold and jewels of admirable workmanship. She tried the jewels before the glass, hesitated, but could neither decide to take them nor leave them. Then she asked, "Have you nothing more?" Now, first of all, she took a bracelet that is worn in hands, then a collar of pearls, that is, you can say a neckband or a necklace of pearls, a garland for pearls, then a Venetian cross. Venetian means of Venice. A cross of gold, and then she took out jewels of praiseworthy craftsmanship. She tried all these in front of mirror. She hesitated, but then she was not able to make up a decision what she should choose or what she should leave, and she was not able to understand whether it would be in a complementary to the dress she is wearing. So she asked if Ma'am Foster has any more that she can have a look according to the dress. "Why, yes, look for yourself. I do not know what will please you." Suddenly, she discovered in a black satin box a superb necklace of diamonds. Her hands trembled as she took it out. She placed it about her throat against her dress and was ecstatic. Then she asked in a hesitating voice, full of anxiety, "Could you lend me this one, only this?" "Why, yes, certainly." So Mrs. Loisel, that is Matilda, she asked Ma'am Foster, "Have you nothing more?" Because though the gels were beautiful, but then she was seeing that something that matches to the pretty dress that she had newly brought. So she thought that if she can get something equivalent to her evening gown. So Ma'am Foster very readily and happily places some more jewels in front of her, and she asked her to choose whatever she places. Then Matilda discovered in a black satin box a glorious necklace of diamonds. And seeing those diamond necklace, picking it up, her hands were trembling. And then she places those diamond necklace against her dress to check whether it suits the dress. And diamonds are always beautiful. So she was all ecstatic. She was highly delighted to see that yes, it was in accordance to the beauty of the dress. Then she asked hesitatingly that can Ma'am Foster lend that diamond necklace to her, only that one. So very happily, very readily, Ma'am Foster agrees to it and said, "Certainly." She fell upon the neck of her friend, embraced her with passion, then went away with her treasure. And as the friend agreed that she is ready to lend her diamond necklace, Matilda was all very happy, and she embraced her friends, held her arms to her friends with strong feeling, with passion, and she went away with that diamond necklace. The day of the ball arrived. Ma'am Loisel was a great success. She was the prettiest of all, elegant, gracious, smiling, and full of joy. All the men noticed her, asked her name, and wanted to be presented. Now the day of ball party was there, the day of dinner was there, and she went, and Ma'am Loisel, that is Matilda, was a great success. She was looking very beautiful, very elegant, graceful, gracious. She was smiling throughout the party, and she was very happy. Happiness can be read on her face. She was full of joy. And the men noticed, everyone noticed the beauty over there, the prettiest girl or woman over there, and they wanted to know her name, and they wanted to be introduced to her. She danced with enthusiasm, intoxicated with pleasure, thinking of nothing but all this admiration, this victory so complete and sweet to her heart. And she was very happy, very enthusiastic. She was dancing all this while. She was intoxicated with pleasure. That is, she was captivated with pleasure, filled with pleasure. Why? Because of the admiration, the praise she was receiving from the men. The men were noticing her, admiring her, her beauty, her dance, her smiling face. And this was that made her complete. She felt victorious to be a part of that party, and she felt complete. And then she felt sweet at heart, happy at heart. She went home towards 4 o'clock in the morning. Her husband had been half asleep in one of the little saloons since midnight with three other gentlemen whose wives were enjoying themselves very much. And the husband had been half asleep in one of the rooms. Saloons means what room meant for entertainment, like drawing room, you can understand. He had been half asleep since midnight, and three other gentlemen were also there whose wife, like Matilda, were enjoying the party, and they left the party by 4 in the morning. He threw around her shoulders the modest wraps they had carried, whose poverty clashed with the elegance of the ball costume. She wished to hurry away in order not to be noticed by the other women who were wrapping themselves in rich fur. Now, when they were leaving, the husband tried to wrap her with a modest, a decent, not expensive wrap. Wrap, that is a shawl. He wanted to wrap her as it was a little bit cold, early morning 4, it was cold. So he wanted to wrap her with this, but then she felt a little embarrassed. Why? Because she did not want the elegance of this beautiful dress, a beautiful evening gown, and a diamond necklace in a total clash with the modest wrap that the husband was having. So she wanted to run away from there. She wished to run away from there so that the rich women do not notice her in this modest thing, a modest wrap, and the rich women, they were in rich furs. So she did not want to come into the eyes of the other woman wearing a modest wrap. Loisel detained her. Wait, he said, I'm going to call a cab. Now the husband wanted to stop her. That wait, now she's running. She's running. Why? She's running from the party because she did not want to, the admiration that she had won. She did not want to put that admiration at stake because of this modest wrap. She did not wanted that admiration to come to an end, and didn't wanted the other women to notice her. So she wants to run away from that party, and husband wants to stop her. That wait, I'm going to call a cab. Cab means horse-driven carriage or a cart. But she would not listen and descended the steps rapidly. When they were in the street, they found no carriage, and they began to seek for one, hailing the coachman whom they saw at a distance. Now, but then she was not ready to listen, and then she descends the steps very fast, and they were in the streets. They're looking for carriage, but then there was no carriage. They're trying to hail or stop the coachman who was at a distance, but they couldn't get any cab. They walked along towards the river, hopeless and shivering. Finally, they found one of those old carriages that one sees in Paris after nightfall. So they're moving along the river, and they're hopeless because they're not able to get a cab, and they're shivering because it's early morning. And then they found an old carriage that one sees in Paris after nightfall. It took them as far as their door, and they went wearily to their apartment. It was all over for her, and on his part, he remembered that he would have to be at the office by 10 o'clock. So they went home. The carriage dropped them at their door, at their home, and very exhausted, they went to their apartment. It was all over. A beautiful dream had come to reality, and it was over now. And he remembered that he has to be back to his work. He has to go to office by 10 o'clock, so he was to get ready for things and stuff. She removed the wraps from her shoulders before the glass for a final view of herself in her glory. Suddenly she uttered a cry. Her necklace was not around her neck, and She removed that modest wrap from her shoulder and she was standing in front of the mirror, trying to admire herself in all her beauty, all her glory, to have just one final look at herself, the admiration she had received, to relive those moments of admiration and glory that she has got. But then she was all distressed, she was in tears, she started crying, she uttered a cry of shock. And what was the shock? The necklace was not around her neck.